Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt that sharp, sudden grip in your calf? The kind that almost pulls you fully awake before you even understand what is happening? A patient of mine once told me that he feared getting out of bed more than going to bed, because every sunrise meant another battle with those tightening pains. And I want you to imagine this for a moment. You gently stretch your legs, expecting the comfort of a new day, but instead a cramp seizes you, stopping you cold. It feels small, but something inside you wonders why it keeps happening. So many seniors tell me they assume morning leg cramps are just part of getting older. They think they slept wrong or moved too quickly. But morning cramps often hold stories the body has been trying to tell long before the pain shows up. Stories about circulation slowing overnight, nerves becoming irritated, or muscles running low on the minerals they need to function smoothly. I remember one woman in her early 70s who brushed off her morning cramps for years. She called them her wake-up alarms, but when they became more frequent and more intense, she finally came in, and what we discovered was an early circulation issue that had been quietly building. Once we addressed the cause, her mornings changed completely. The truth is simple. During the night, the body loses hydration, blood flow slows, and mineral levels drop just enough that the first movement of the morning exposes every weakness. Not every cramp is dangerous, but when cramps become one-sided, severe, or persistent, they can be early signs your body is asking for support long before a bigger problem appears. And that is why this conversation matters. Morning cramps are not something to fear. They are signals, not sentences. You deserve to understand what they mean so you can stay strong, steady, and confident. Before we go deeper, if this video is helping you already, please subscribe, like, and share Senior Health Daily. It truly encourages us to keep creating helpful content for you. In the next part, I will walk you through the warning signs that matter, why they appear, and how to protect your circulation, nerves, and long-term mobility. Why morning leg cramps matter more than night cramps. Morning leg cramps often surprise people more than nighttime cramps because they strike at the very moment your feet first touch the floor. Many seniors tell me they wake up feeling fine, only to be stopped by a sudden tightening or stabbing sensation the instant they try to move. What makes these morning cramps so important is not just the pain itself, but the story behind them. The body has been still for hours, lying quietly through the night. Circulation slows, hydration drops, minerals shift, and nerves become more sensitive. When you finally begin to move, all those subtle changes you see reveal themselves in a single moment. I once had a patient who described her morning cramps as a lightning bolt in my calf the second I stand up. She thought it was because she slept funny or stretched the wrong way, but as we talked through her symptoms, she realized it happened almost every morning, especially after nights when she didn't hydrate well or went to bed exhausted. The truth is, the morning is a window into what the body has been struggling with silently throughout the night. From a physiological standpoint, morning cramps can reflect deeper issues more clearly than nighttime cramps. Overnight, blood flow naturally decreases because the muscles aren't contracting to help pump blood back to the heart. If circulation is already compromised, seniors may feel that sharp cramp as the body tries to force oxygen into starved muscle tissue. Nerves also become more reactive after hours of compression, especially in positions that limit blood flow or put pressure on the lower back. Morning cramps can also hint at dehydration, even if you don't feel thirsty. The body loses fluids while breathing and sleeping, and many older adults drink less in the evening to avoid trips to the bathroom. By morning, electrolyte levels may be lower than expected. That imbalance often shows up in the form of tight, twitching, or contracted muscles. This is why morning cramps matter. They're not always a sign of danger, but they do offer valuable clues about circulation, nerves, hydration, and mineral balance. When we learn to listen to these clues, we protect mobility, independence, and long-term vascular health in a powerful way. Circulation-related causes seniors must not ignore. As we begin to look more closely at why morning leg cramps happen, circulation becomes one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. Good circulation is what delivers oxygen and nutrients to your muscles, especially after a long night of rest. When blood flow is limited, even slightly, morning movement exposes the weakness almost instantly. That's why so many seniors feel that sharp, sudden cramp the moment they try to stretch or step out of bed. One of the most common underlying causes is peripheral artery disease, or PAD. I've seen countless patients over the years who brushed off their morning cramps as normal aging, only to learn later that their arteries were narrowing. At night, when the legs are still and blood flow slows naturally, these already restricted vessels tighten even more. By morning, the first attempt to stand or walk forces the muscles to work harder while receiving less oxygen than they need. The result is that intense tightening, heaviness, or burning sensation that seems to come out of nowhere. I remember a patient in his early 70s who came to me convinced he just needed better stretches. Every morning, his calves seized the moment he stood up, and he assumed it was because he wasn't flexible enough. But when I asked about his walking routine, he admitted that his legs hurt during short walks and felt better only after resting. That was a classic pattern of circulation-related pain. After a simple test, we discovered early PAD. With lifestyle adjustments and proper care, his morning cramps improved dramatically within weeks. Circulation issues can show up in other ways too. Varicose veins and chronic venous insufficiency cause blood to pool in the lower legs overnight. Some seniors wake with a deep aching sensation or cramps that only ease after the legs have been elevated or gently warmed. In more serious cases, swelling, discoloration, or warmth in only one leg can be a warning sign of a blood clot. This isn't common, but it's something doctors never take lightly. Muscles rely on a steady supply of oxygen, and when that supply is interrupted, they fight back through cramping and pain. Morning is the time when these signals are the loudest because the body is transitioning from stillness to motion. Think of it like a garden hose that has been left kinked all night. When you turn the water back on, it sputters and surges before flowing normally. Your circulation can behave the same way. Understanding these circulation-related causes doesn't mean you should be afraid. It simply means your body is giving you information, and you are learning how to interpret it. The more clearly you listen, the more confidently you can protect your long-term mobility and health. Nerve-related causes behind morning cramps. While circulation plays a major role in morning leg cramps, nerves are just as important to understand. Every muscle movement depends on smooth, steady communication between your nerves and your muscles. When that communication becomes disrupted, delayed, or overstimulated, cramps can appear suddenly, especially in the morning after hours of stillness. Many seniors are surprised to learn their morning cramp isn't just a muscle issue at all, but a nerve signal gone wrong. One of the most common nerve-related causes is diabetic neuropathy. High blood sugar, over time, damages the small nerves in the legs and feet. These nerves begin to misfire, sending mixed signals that make muscles twist, tighten, or burn, especially after a long night of inactivity. I once treated a woman in her late 60s who came to me worried because her calves cramped every single morning. At first, she blamed her mattress, then her stretching routine, and even her water intake. But when we examined her nerve function, the real issue became clear. Her nighttime blood sugar was rising, irritating the nerves in her lower legs. Once she brought her glucose levels back under control, her morning cramps softened and eventually disappeared. Another nerve-related cause involves the spine. Many older adults sleep in positions that put pressure on the lower back, compressing the nerves that travel down the legs. This can make those nerves hypersensitive by morning. When you first begin to move, the irritated nerves fire rapidly, sending chaotic messages to the muscles. I often describe it to my patients like a frayed electrical wire. When the insulation thins, the signal becomes unpredictable and sparks fly. Your nerves can behave much the same way when they are damaged or compressed. The first movement of the day exposes the irritation and results in a sharp cramp or tightening that may feel like it comes out of nowhere. Sciatica is another example. if the sciatic nerve is compressed by a tight piriformis muscle or a misaligned vertebra. Morning is when the discomfort is most noticeable. The leg muscles may feel weak, tight, or prone to sudden spasms. Some seniors tell me they feel a combination of burning, tingling, and cramping all at once. These sensations are often the body's way of saying that the nerves need relief, not just the muscles. Nerve-related morning cramps are also more common in people who spend long hours sitting the day before. Extended sitting reduces blood flow to the nerves and increases compression around the lower spine. By the next morning, the nerves are primed to overreact. The first steps out of bed become painful reminders that the nervous system hasn't had the support it needs. It's important to recognize that nerve-related cramps do not mean your body is failing. They simply indicate that the communication lines between your brain and muscles need more attention. Gentle stretching, improved sleep posture, stable blood sugar levels, and reduced sitting time can dramatically improve these morning symptoms. Understanding the nervous system's role helps us take morning leg cramps seriously without fearing them. It gives us a clearer picture of what the body is trying to say and how to respond with confidence and compassion. Metabolic and mineral imbalances. As we explore morning leg cramps more deeply, there is another powerful piece of the puzzle you should understand: the role of minerals and your body's metabolic balance. Muscles are extraordinary, but they are also incredibly dependent on just the right amount of magnesium, potassium, and calcium to function properly. When even one of these minerals falls too low, the first sign often appears the moment you wake up. This is because nighttime is when the body's reserves are quietly depleted. While you sleep, you breathe out water, lose electrolytes, and go many hours without replenishing anything. For younger adults, these fluctuations may not cause noticeable symptoms, but for seniors, whose bodies absorb minerals differently and metabolize them more slowly, the morning can reveal imbalances very quickly. Magnesium is one of the most important minerals for preventing cramps. It acts almost like a calming force for your muscles. Without enough magnesium, your muscles contract easily but struggle to relax. Many seniors who wake up with sudden tightening in the calves or feet don't realize they're experiencing the effect of low magnesium levels. I remember a gentleman in his late 70s who began drinking a glass of warm milk with magnesium-rich snacks before bed. Within just a week, his morning cramps softened dramatically. His relief didn't come from medication, but from restoring a mineral his body had quietly run low on for years. Potassium plays an equally important role. It keeps the electrical signals in your muscles balanced and stable. When potassium drops, the signals become erratic and muscles cramp, often in the early hours of the morning when the body's potassium naturally dips. Seniors who take water pills or have certain heart conditions are especially vulnerable. One of my patients, an 80-year-old woman taking diuretics, woke up every morning with severe foot cramps. Once we adjusted her potassium levels through diet and careful medical monitoring, the episodes eased and eventually stopped. Calcium, too, is vital. Most people think of calcium only for bone health, but it's also essential for proper muscle contraction. Low calcium can create stiffness and unpredictable muscle responses in the morning. And because seniors absorb calcium less efficiently, it becomes an issue that often goes unnoticed until symptoms appear. I cared for a woman who began adding calcium-fortified foods to her evening meals. She told me later that she felt her legs come back to life after months of painful mornings. Metabolic issues also play a role. Thyroid problems can make muscles tense or weak. Kidney conditions can disrupt mineral balance, causing the muscles to cramp when you first rise from bed. These are not common causes, but when they appear, morning cramps are often one of the first clues. One patient of mine had persistent morning cramps alongside fatigue and swelling. Blood tests revealed a thyroid imbalance that had quietly progressed for years. Once treated, her cramps faded and her energy returned. The beauty of understanding these mineral and metabolic connections is that it turns fear into clarity. Morning cramps are not your body malfunctioning. They are messages that something inside needs support, nourishment, or balance. With the right adjustments, many seniors experience a remarkable improvement in both comfort and mobility. Morning cramps versus dangerous warning signs. By now, you can see that morning leg cramps often have understandable causes, but there are times when they reveal something deeper. This is why doctors pay close attention to the details. Morning cramps don't exist in isolation. They come with patterns, sensations, timing, and subtle changes that, when interpreted correctly, help us distinguish harmless discomfort from early warning signs of more serious conditions. One of the most important clues is whether the cramp appears only in one leg. When a senior wakes up every morning with pain in the same leg, it raises questions about circulation. Muscles on one side of the body don't spontaneously suffer while the other stays perfectly fine. I once worked with a patient who had persistent right leg cramps each morning. She assumed it was her sleeping position, but after examining her circulation, we discovered early peripheral artery disease in that same leg. Treating the condition didn't just relieve her cramps. It protected her long-term mobility. Another warning sign is when the feet appear unusually cold, pale, or discolored upon waking. Muscles rely on oxygen-rich blood, and when circulation is reduced, the feet sometimes show it before the pain even begins. Seniors often think cold feet are harmless, but when paired with morning cramps, it becomes a sign worth investigating. One man told me his morning cramps faded only after walking for several minutes, but his toes always looked slightly bluish. A simple vascular test confirmed what his body had been trying to say. His blood flow needed support. Numbness and burning sensations are another red flag. Cramping alone can be a normal response to dehydration or mineral imbalance, but cramping mixed with burning often points to nerve involvement. Diabetic neuropathy is one of the most common culprits. A senior woman once described her mornings as a mix of fire and squeezing in my calves. Testing showed that her blood sugar had been creeping too high at night, irritating the nerves in her legs. After adjusting her evening routine and balancing her glucose levels, those alarming sensations gradually disappeared. Swelling is a symptom no one should ignore. When a cramp is accompanied by noticeable swelling, especially if the swelling is only in one leg, doctors always consider the possibility of a blood clot. Deep vein thrombosis is rare but serious. It often reveals itself through a combination of morning stiffness, swelling, and tenderness in one leg. I always tell my patients that swelling is the body's way of waving a red flag. It is one of the symptoms that requires urgent attention. Morning cramps that worsen with walking but improve with rest also demand evaluation. That pattern is classic for circulation problems. When walking increases pain, it usually means the arteries are struggling to deliver enough oxygen to the muscles. Once circulation is supported, these symptoms often improve dramatically. Doctors use simple, painless tests to investigate these signs. An ABI test measures blood flow in the legs. An ultrasound can rule out a clot. Basic blood panels check electrolyte balance, thyroid function, and glucose levels. Seniors are often relieved to learn these tests are quick and non-invasive, yet incredibly revealing. Understanding these warning signs is not meant to create fear. It is meant to empower. When you know what to look for, you gain control. You give your body the care it deserves, and you prevent small symptoms from becoming bigger problems in the future. Hidden morning. Habits that make cramps worse. Not all morning cramps come from medical conditions. Sometimes they're made worse by small habits that seem harmless, but place unexpected stress on the body. Over the years, I've watched many seniors change just one or two parts of their morning routine and suddenly find themselves moving with ease instead of bracing for pain. These habits are subtle, but they have powerful effects on circulation, nerves, and muscle readiness. One of the most overlooked habits is standing up too quickly after waking. When your body has been still for hours, the circulatory system hasn't fully adjusted yet. Muscles are tight, veins are relaxed, and blood may be pooling in the lower legs. The moment you stand too fast, The muscles demand oxygen, but the blood flow isn't ready to deliver it. This mismatch often triggers a sudden cramp. I often encourage seniors to pause for just a few seconds before getting out of bed, gently moving their ankles and stretching their calves. This simple step prepares the muscles for that first burst of movement. Another habit that contributes to morning cramps is nighttime dehydration. Many older adults limit water intake before bed to avoid midnight bathroom trips. And while that's understandable, the downside is that the body wakes up underhydrated. Muscles are more vulnerable to spasms when minerals like potassium and magnesium run low. Even a small shift can trigger a sharp morning cramp. I once had a patient who started drinking a few ounces of water and adding hydrating foods like orange slices in the evening. Within days, her morning cramps softened noticeably. Posture during sleep is another hidden culprit. Some seniors curl tightly into a fetal position, unknowingly restricting blood flow to the lower legs. Others sleep with their feet pointed downward, which shortens the calf muscles throughout the night. When those shortened muscles suddenly lengthen the moment you try to stand, the body responds with a cramp. I often recommend adjusting pillow placement or sleeping with the feet in a more neutral position to avoid unnecessary strain. Skipping a mineral-rich breakfast is another common factor. Morning is the perfect time to replenish electrolytes that were depleted overnight. But if the first meal is delayed or lacks magnesium, potassium, or calcium, the muscles remain unstable. I treated a man who had morning cramps nearly every day until he began eating a small yogurt with fruit each morning. The change seemed almost too simple, but his body responded beautifully once it received the nutrients it needed. Finally, sitting too long before starting your day can make cramps worse. Many seniors enjoy quiet mornings, reading or watching the news, but prolonged sitting immediately after waking keeps the muscles cold and reduces blood flow just when the body needs to warm up gradually. Even a few minutes of gentle movement can dramatically improve circulation and prevent sudden tightening. These morning habits are easy to overlook, but they create the perfect environment for cramps to appear. Adjusting them doesn't require major effort, just awareness and consistency. And once you begin to make those small shifts, the morning no longer has to be a time of fear or discomfort. Instead, it becomes an opportunity to support your body with kindness and intention. Morning warning symptoms seniors should never ignore. As we continue exploring the meaning behind morning leg cramps, it becomes especially important to recognize the symptoms that should never be dismissed. Most morning cramps are manageable, but some act as gentle alarms from the body, trying to draw your attention to deeper issues that need care. The key is not to panic, but to listen with curiosity and respect. One of the clearest warning signals is when a cramp improves only after long walking. Muscles should generally feel better with a bit of gentle stretching, but when relief comes only after several minutes of walking, it often points to circulation problems. Blood needs movement to reach the lower legs, and if walking finally brings comfort, it suggests that the arteries may be struggling to deliver enough oxygen when you first wake. I once treated a retired school teacher who assumed she simply needed to walk it off, not realizing her morning discomfort was an early sign of peripheral artery disease. With proper care, her circulation improved and the painful mornings faded. Another symptom to take seriously is discoloration of the feet or toes. When the feet appear pale, reddish, bluish, or unusually cold upon waking, it can reveal compromised blood flow. These changes are not cosmetic. They are direct reflections of how well your legs are receiving oxygen. A gentleman in his 80s once told me he thought his bluish toes were a normal part of aging. When paired with morning cramps, however, it was clear his body was signaling a need for deeper evaluation. After simple testing and early treatment, his symptoms improved, and his risk of future complications was reduced dramatically. Morning cramps combined with swelling should also never be ignored. Swelling is the body's way of saying that something is obstructing normal flow, especially if the swelling occurs in just one leg. In rare cases, this can indicate a blood clot. I always tell my patients that swelling paired with pain or tenderness deserves immediate attention. A senior woman once came to me after experiencing mild swelling for several mornings. It turned out to be early venous insufficiency, not a clot, and because she sought help early, her condition was manageable and her discomfort eased within weeks. Another important warning sign is cramping accompanied by burning, numbness, or tingling. These sensations often point to nerve involvement or metabolic issues. One of my patients described her mornings as a burning rope tightening around my calf. Her symptoms were linked to elevated nighttime blood sugar, something she had never considered. Once she improved her glucose management, the burning and cramping disappeared almost completely. Fatigue or dizziness paired with morning cramps can be another subtle clue. When the heart or metabolism is working harder than usual, the muscles may not get the support they need overnight. These symptoms don't automatically mean something serious is happening, but they do deserve attention. Your body communicates in patterns, not random events. When morning cramps show up alongside changes in foot temperature, color, swelling, numbness, or unusual fatigue, the message becomes clearer. It means your body is asking for a closer look, a bit more support, or a conversation with your doctor. Recognizing these warning symptoms isn't about creating fear. It's about creating safety. When you understand what your body is saying, you gain the confidence to protect your health long before problems escalate. That is real empowerment, and it starts with paying attention to the details of what seniors can do to stay safe and pain-free. When morning leg cramps start to appear more often, the most important thing to remember is that you're not helpless. There are gentle, effective steps you can take to support your muscles, circulation, and nerves before the day even begins. And these steps are not complicated. They're small acts of care that accumulate into real protection for your body. One of the simplest and most powerful habits is gentle stretching before you get out of bed. I've seen this change mornings for countless seniors. While you're still lying down, move your feet in slow circles, flex your toes upward, and allow your calves to lengthen gradually. This helps the muscles wake up with you instead of being shocked into activity. A woman I cared for in her 70s told me her mornings transformed the moment she made stretching part of her routine. What used to be a painful beginning became a smooth, steady start to her day. Breakfast is another important opportunity to support your body. Your muscles have gone many hours without nourishment, and they need minerals to function properly. Adding foods rich in magnesium, potassium, and calcium can make a remarkable difference. Yogurt with fruit, a banana, a handful of nuts, or a small bowl of oatmeal are simple choices that replenish what your body used overnight. I once had a patient who rarely ate breakfast and suffered from daily morning cramps. When he started eating a small, mineral-rich meal each morning, the cramps began fading within a week. Hydration also plays a key role. Many seniors drink very little water at night, leaving their muscles dehydrated by morning. The solution isn't to drink large amounts before bed, but to hydrate consistently during the day so your body doesn't wake up depleted. A few sips of water upon waking can help prepare the muscles for movement and reduce the risk of cramping. Improving sleep posture is another meaningful step. Sleeping with your legs slightly elevated can support circulation, while avoiding positions that tightly curl the knees or point the toes downward protects the calf muscles from shortening. A small pillow under the knees or an adjustment to your mattress can create big changes in morning comfort. Light activity throughout the day also matters. Muscles that remain inactive for long periods become more prone to cramping. A short walk, gentle stretching, or even simple chair exercises can help keep your circulation strong and your muscles flexible. I've watched seniors who once struggled with painful mornings regain confidence simply by adding 10 minutes of movement into their afternoons. Another important piece of staying safe is knowing when to reach out for help. If morning cramps are accompanied by swelling, numbness, changes in skin color, or pain that worsens during walking, your doctor can help determine the cause. Asking the right questions allows you to understand your body more clearly and avoid unnecessary worry. What matters most is that you approach your mornings with intention. Instead of bracing for pain, you can nurture your muscles, support your circulation, and give yourself the gentle care your body has earned. These steps are not just physical habits. They are acts of respect, acknowledging everything your legs have carried you through over the years. Patient success stories. Stories have a way of showing us what facts alone cannot. They bring the science to life and remind us that behind every symptom is a person with hopes, fears, and a desire to keep moving forward. Over the years, I've watched seniors transform their mornings simply by understanding the messages their bodies were sending. These stories may help you see what's possible for you as well. One of my patients, a 74-year-old man named Robert, came to me exhausted from battling morning cramps for almost a year. Every day began the same way. He would swing his legs over the edge of the bed, stand up, and immediately feel a deep tightening in his calves that nearly forced him to sit back down. He blamed aging, thinking it was something he just had to endure. But something in his story made me pause. His cramps were mainly in one leg, and the pain worsened when he walked uphill. We ordered a simple circulation test, and the results showed early peripheral artery disease. The diagnosis frightened him at first, but it also gave him a clear direction. With lifestyle changes, better circulation support, and guided walking routines, his morning cramps improved dramatically. The best part was hearing him say, "I finally feel like my legs trust me again." Another patient, a woman in her late 60s named Margaret, struggled with burning and tightening sensations every morning. She assumed it was her mattress, or perhaps stress. But as we talked, it became clear that her symptoms were tied to her blood sugar levels. She had diabetes, and her nighttime glucose had been running high without her realizing it. After adjusting her dinner choices, evening routines, and medication timing, something remarkable happened. Within weeks, the burning eased, the cramps softened, and her mornings became peaceful again. She told me, "For the first time in years, I wake up without fear." Then there was a senior named Helen, who experienced sharp morning cramps despite staying active. She slept in a curled position that restricted her circulation and kept her calves shortened through the night. After learning how sleep posture affects morning cramps, she made simple adjustments with pillows to better support her legs. She paired that with gentle stretching before she stood up each day. Her mornings changed so quickly that at her follow-up visit, she laughed and said, "I can't believe something so small made such a big difference." These stories remind us of something powerful. Morning cramps are not the end of strength or independence. They are beginnings. They are signals. And when those signals are understood with compassion and clarity, the body responds with extraordinary resilience. Each of these individuals discovered that healing didn't require perfection. It required awareness, courage, and a willingness to care for their bodies with patience. You deserve that same peace, that same clarity, and that same renewed sense of control over your mornings. A gentle reminder to stay engaged and empowered. Before we move toward the emotional closing of this video, I want to take a moment to remind you of something important. Morning leg cramps are not a sign that you're losing strength. They are signals, invitations, and opportunities to support your body in a more intentional way. When you understand these signals, you become more than just a patient. You become an active partner in your own well-being. And as you continue learning with me, I want you to feel encouraged, not overwhelmed. Everything we've talked about today is meant to give you clarity and confidence. Your body is not working against you. It is working for you. Even when it sends uncomfortable messages, those messages are rooted in protection, not punishment. This is also the perfect moment for me to gently remind you. If this video is helping you understand your health, please subscribe, like, and share Senior Health Daily. It gives us the motivation to create more life-saving content for you. Knowing that our work supports your strength and independence is what keeps this channel going. You have already taken a powerful step simply by being here, listening, and learning. Many seniors feel alone with their symptoms, unsure of what to believe or where to turn. But you are not alone. Thousands of people are navigating the same concerns, and together we're building a community grounded in trust, compassion, and wisdom. Morning leg cramps may seem small, but they hold important information about your circulation, your nerves, your hydration, and your mineral balance. The more you understand these elements, the more you can prevent discomfort and protect your mobility. I've watched countless individuals experience profound relief once they learned how their mornings reflect what their bodies endured overnight. So take a moment, breathe, and acknowledge yourself. You are doing something meaningful for your health. You are gaining knowledge that can change the way you move, the way you rest, and the way you approach each new day. And the best part is that your body responds beautifully when you give it consistent, gentle care. Now that you understand the science, the stories, and the solutions, we are ready to move into the final part of this journey together. It's the part where we honor your resilience, strengthen your sense of hope, and remind your heart of something essential. Your body still listens, and it still wants to carry you forward. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want to leave you with a sense of peace and clarity. Morning leg cramps can feel frightening, especially when they catch you off guard, but they are not a sign that your body is failing. They are signals, gentle messages meant to guide you, not punish you. When we learn to listen with understanding instead of fear, those signals become powerful tools for protecting your long-term health. Your legs have carried you through so much in life. They've supported you through decades of work, caregiving, walking, loving, and showing up for the people who needed you. They have been your foundation during some of your strongest and most vulnerable moments, and now they deserve patience, nourishment, and gratitude instead of frustration or blame. A small moment of cramping does not erase a lifetime of resilience. There is so much hope in this journey. Even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, your body is still capable of healing and responding. Small habits like gentle stretching before you rise, staying hydrated throughout the day, and giving your muscles the minerals they need can bring remarkable comfort. These are simple acts, but they create real changes in circulation, nerve health, and morning mobility. Every morning offers another chance to care for yourself with intention. You are not powerless. You are learning, adjusting, and strengthening your connection with the body that has carried you so faithfully. And you are doing it with courage. At Senior Health, you're never alone. I'm right here with you, helping you understand each sign your body sends, one step at a time. Remember this as you move forward. Your body still listens, it still responds, and it still wants to carry you forward.